welcome to another edition of Grand Slam Saturday as we do matches from week 27, year 4 here in GSW. We've been doing this now on YouTube for over a year. I'm Big Paulie coming to you. We had some technical issues. I accidentally erased the match that I did from the Canadian circuit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over results from Canada, and then we're going to have a match from the New York circuit, a match from the Atlanta circuit, and we're going to have two from the Knoxville circuit making its debut this week. So we have a lot of matches to go through. Because with limited rosters of 16 singles and 4 tag teams in each circuit, we're trying to get everybody some action as humanly possible. So there are 20-minute time limits for most bouts. If there are special matches, then they have a 30-minute time limit. And the title matches, all title matches, stay with a 60-minute time limit. Also, in other news, John Pezic has returned, and he'll be competing in the London circuit after Commissioner Soley fined him an undisclosed amount, interfering in the main event of the Monarch of the Mat final between Mitsuharu Mitsawa and who did he beat in the final? It was Jack Sherry. It was Jack Sherry he defeated in the final. So Pezic was fined an undisclosed amount, so he figured, I'm going to come out of retirement. And I'm sure his goal will be to try to win the World Heavyweight Championship a third time and recoup some of the money, whatever that undisclosed amount was that he got fined for. So we'll get to that in later weeks. I'm sure with I do all the rankings going back to the start of GSW, and rankings-wise, Pezic comes in, and he is now by far the number one contender. So he will probably get a bout with Dory Funk Jr. right away. And then he can hold the title a while. So let's go over the Canadian results, and then we'll get you over to New York for a big match there between Bruno Sammartino and a heelish Cowboy Bill Watts. Frank Sexton over Pampero Firpo by pin. He picks up 4 points in the rankings. Stu Hart, Kenny Omega went to a draw. They'll pick up 2 each. Magnificent Maurice and Henri Deglan, and Deglan won by pin for 4 points, 14:39 on airplane spin. Pedro Morales drew with Cien Caras. Dara Singh and Buddy Cole. It was Singh winning by countout, the fan favorite. Ace Orton, Bob Orton Jr., and Pepper Gomez went to a double countout. CN Punk returned to GSW after having a spell of injuries, and he drew with Randy Savage over 20. The Crusaders, I would say relatively easily over the Hollywood Blondes, who are now managed in the Montreal circuit by Eddie Creechman. Kurt Angle loses by DQ to Ricky Morton. The Hart Foundation loses to the Von Brauners. We hear that the Harts will be heading to Texas, competing as a tag team. Although Brett will probably stay and compete in Canada as a single, what we're hearing. And in the main event, it was Steamboat and Youngblood keeping the belts by pin. 247, they defeated the Kalmakoffs, Ivan and Carol Kalmakoff. So how we are going to handle transactions is whoever loses the most points in a match is going to be the person who is automatically transacted out of a circuit. If we have a tie, as we did in Canada, we had 3 different acts losing by 4 points, a 4-point loss. We see, okay, did they lose by pin? That would take precedence over losing by DQ. Then we go on. And if there is still a tie, if there were multiple parties, like say in this instance in the Canada roster, we had Deglan winning by a pin over Maurice, so Maurice lost 4 points. Frank Pampero Firpo lost 4 points. Kurt Angle lost 4 points, but he lost by DQ, and the Hart Foundation lost by 4 points. So they were the highest team to lose 4 points by pin, so they're out the door, and a new tag team will be brought in. And I have a transaction market now set up to where, like, for instance, the Hart Foundation left a 120. If I bring in another team to replace them that's lower in the rankings, they gain transaction points. If I have to find a better tag team to replace them, they lose points. And the idea is to accrue points so when champions lose their titles, there could be a bidding war over their services. So that's how I'm going to do it. And with that, I'm going to head on over to the New York circuit. We'll see you over there. And off we go to another bout here on Grand Slam Saturday. As I was mentioning, as my goldfish, my Petrix Farms goldfish that I kind of eat, kind of keep nearby, fall to the floor on me. It's going to be Bruno Sammartino against his longtime rival, Cowboy Bill Watts. Watts usually a fan favorite everywhere, but once upon a time in the 1960s, he was a tag team partner of Bruno Sammartino's, and it was one of the first times, I don't think it was the first time, that fan favorites all of a sudden drew swords on each other, but Watts famously attacked Sammartino in about, I want to say it was 1965, but I could be off a couple of years on that. It was one of those things the fans couldn't believe, and it was done in a way that drew immediate heat onto Watts. So Watts will be the villain here against Sammartino, and Watts is bringing the North American title. As a heel, Watts is 1-0. And in the 1960s card that you get on Wrestling Science, he has a 60s card and a 70s card. Bruno is 7-3-1. Of course, he just lost in the battle with Freddie Blassie in the round of 16 in the Monarch of the Mat tournament. And Blassie went on and made the semis out of all of that. So let's recap what has happened in the New York circuit. I nearly said North American. Well, it is in North America. Antonino Rocca and Miguel Perez Sr. over the Valiant Brothers. That was our first bout. It was Ahmed Johnson losing to Sid Vicious by a pin. Biff Wellington by DQ over Blackjack Lanza. Giant Baba drew with Taz. In 53 seconds, Tiger Mask pinned Jesse the Body Ventura. Jim Lundos and Tully Blanchard drew in 20 minutes. Our bouts go 20 minutes. We're going to try to get as many people on the roster in action as humanly possible. Although sometimes you'll have say 10 baby faces and 6 heels, and you can't have all the bouts you want. But we'll work with that with time. The Pitbulls lost to the Dudley Boys. The Pitbulls could be on their way out, depending on what happens in this match. If Bruno gets pinly cleaned, he could be out, and we'll get to that if that should occur. Edge over Davey Boy Smith, relatively easy in a hardcore match, ECW style. And we just missed the battle for the women's title. Fabulous Moolah retained on a double DQ. It went 18-40, and both Lioness Azuka and Bull Nakano were at ringside, magically, and they each decided to interfere. So that sets up our title bout, one fall, 60 minutes. Bruno Sammartino, who's won a few minor championships at GSW, never the big one, kind of like Andre the Giant. He faces the Cowboy here, Bill Watts. Was a famous heel back in the 60s and 70s, and many thought he should have had a run at the NWA title back then. And there you see the particulars for each man. I think I would make Sammartino the favorite, but he's got to win the title. And this is a classic match for the title. Watts always was a straight-up guy, so I decided that he will not be defend the title privileges. It's just going to be a straight-up match. And off we go. A body slam by Watts, and that's no pin right away at the 41-second mark. We are at, possible disqualify event. So it's Sammartino who has a strategy card I could use. I forgot to set him the computer, but I did not forget to set Watts to the computer. So we're going to put arm holds on for Bruno. So we'll just play as Bruno here. Hope you all don't mind. Power move by Bruno. Body slam countered on a legal throat chop. No pin. They each have 5 strategy cards to use, so I'm just going to wait Watts out, an arm hold by Bruno, and another. And the power move, clothesline by Bruno. And we'll just keep it straight and just Watch it with the rule breaking and arm hold applied by Bruno. So now I don't want to call outside help. We'll go for the specialty hold here. Knee strike to the head. No pin. Didn't really have great odds of getting the pin, so now we're going to wait Watts out a little bit. Kick by Watts. Supplé attempt by Watts. No pin. No action. Watts has control. A bulldog countered. And again, we're just going to use arm holds here for Bruno. Just be patient and wait Watts out. And at 7:24, Watts is behind a little bit. Nice body slam by Bruno onto Watts. Choking by Bruno, countered, and Watts comes right back with a kick. So now I will look. I don't want to use up all my holds though, but I should check the weapon. Oh, I'm going to use outside help. Ooh. Ally came down the ringside. Well, I didn't mean to use it, and I used it. And the ally, we'll say, is Ahmed Johnson, because Bill Watts, known for being a bit, so that's 35 points. We'll say Ahmed Johnson had a few words with Watts, and Ahmed and Bruno had a little thing for him here. Punches now for Bruno. Bruno's going to turn up the volume a little bit. That's 6 points. And some more. That's 6 more points. I am not going to use a strategy card. Watts leaves the ring, and his stamina is up by 10. Headbutt by Watts, no pin. Football tackle, no pin. Watts using the ropes for leverage, no pin. Low blow by Watts, pile driver countered. Legal punches by Bruno. Counter any strategy card used by your opponent. Okay, we'll try that. More punching by Bruno. And into the turnbuckle goes Watts. And a headbutt by Bruno. And now Bruno Sammartino hopes to reevaluate his match strategy. So he's lost the stamina level. So make him a little more suspect to be pinned. Sammartino loses control. No action. No action. Kick by Watts. Yes, I want to use a strategy card to nullify. Pinhold by Watts. A rolling reverse. No pin. We're at 16:08 into the bout. Watts down about 35 points. No cuts yet. Yes, I want to use a strategy card and counter it. Supplé attempt. Ka-chunk. Watts throws Bruno upside down to the mat with a thud. No pin. We are at 17:42. Arm hold by Bruno. Punches by Bruno. And now a turnbuckle move. No pin. Body slam by Sammartino. And that does not result in a pin. We are at, and we're going to use punches. We're going to use punches. Just keep raising the heat on Watts. Bruno, by the way, 7-3-1. And Watts as a heel is 1-0 so far this year. A body slam by Bruno. See if we can get it going here. I'm not going to try an illegal pin attempt. No pin. Headlock by Bruno. Punches by Bruno. Whip to the ropes. So if Ahmed interfering, probably if Bruno wins the title, I would think that New York will buy the contract on Bill Watts so he could feud with Ahmed Johnson. Legal turnbuckle move by Bruno. A full Nelson, and we can't score the pin, so we can't score the submission, so we just will not try. Actually, Bill Watts, Ahmed Johnson's going to make the allegation that Bill Watts, for our kayfabe purposes, has issues with people of a different color, but in fact, Junkyard Dog was one of his big stars in Mid-South, and his booker for many years was Ernie the Cat Ladd. Illegal punches by Watts. So, could set up a nice little angle here between Watts and Ahmed if Watts loses the title. Um, illegal punches. Eye gouge countered by, we've just had a couple of counters. Pin hold. Watts went for a body press there. Submission move. Sleeper hold. That's not going to get it done. No action. Indian deathlock. Again, no real chance of getting a submission on that. Legal knee by Watts. And we're now at the 26:37 mark. Longtime ally of one of the wrestlers comes to ringside to watch the match. I don't know who that could be. Headlock by Bruno. I'll think of something. Body slam by Bruno. And again, we're going to use punches just to keep the champ agitated. Hair pull by Bruno. And we had something happen there. Referee tries to separate the two wrestlers in the corner, but it ends up being punched by both wrestlers. So this went to a double DQ at 28:47. Watts will keep the title, and we will keep the Watts Ahmed race storyline issue at under wraps for now. But you and I will know about it. Watts retains. Ahmed could always say that, using Watts as a booker and JYD as his star. And of course, when JYD went to the WWF in '85, Watts would refer to him as the junk food dog. So he could say, oh, well, these were exceptions that proved the rule. So with a double DQ, Watts is going to pick up 2 points in the ratings. He'll go to 134. And Bruno does not lose any points. He will stay at 145. So 28:47 the time. Both men abused the referee. And it was 232 off of Watts. Watts, I would say he was he was starting to be on the verge of being in significant trouble of danger of getting pinned and losing the title. But as I said, if Watts lost the title, they'd have New York buy the contract, and they could have a hell of an angle with Ahmed. That won't wind up happening. And nothing happened post-match. So with that, we bid you adieu from New York, and we head down south to the brand new merged circuit of Atlanta and Charlotte, with their headquarters based in Atlanta, GA. And hello again, everybody. Let's get you to our second match here on Grand Slam Saturday. And then we're going to show you two from the brand new Knoxville circuit. This is the Atlanta circuit, which merged with Charlotte as the second quarter of the year expired. And before we show you the results of what happened in Charlotte, not Charlotte, but Atlanta, let's show you the roll call of champions, because as I am about to show you, it has changed. And I'll see if you all can find the change in the roll call before we show you what has happened. Did you find it? Are you sure you didn't find it? If you found it, congratulations. If not, we'll tell you what happened in the Atlanta circuit. And on our curtain jerker, it was Arn Anderson and Kenta Kobashi. They went to a 20-minute draw. Bobby Eaton lost to the Junkyard Dog via DQ when Eaton shoved the ref. Karl Gotch over Nikolai Volkov when Bobby Eaton interfered in the next match. The Crusher and Adrian Adonis went to a 20-minute draw, as did Ric Flair and Greg Valentine, as did Mr. Wrestling 2 and Dusty Rhodes. Pat Patterson and Ray Stevens quickly lost to the Rock and Roll Express. Grudge match between Ole Anderson, as I lose my page here. Ole Anderson's future defender longer was Liger winning by surprise. And that is going to send Ole Anderson perhaps scurrying to another circuit. I forgot to mention we had a opening. Anderson and Kobashi was not the opening bout. It was the Briscoe brothers and the Outsiders. And the Outsiders pulled off the win over the Briscoe brothers, who were just acquired by Atlanta in a trade. So move all the matches down in that order, and it was actually the Outsiders and the Briscoes that led off the card. In an international title match, we have a brand new international champion, he being Sting, winning in just 8:35 with the Stinger Splash. So that's going to set up our main event. It is Mr. TV, Jackie Pallo, defending his World Junior Heavyweight Championship against Yoshiaki Yatsu, hi, from Japan. So Pallo will be defending the title. And Yatsu, kind of a heelish singles wrestler as a junior heavyweight. The title will be defended in a 60-minute time limit bout. This is for the World Junior Heavyweight Championship, which Pallo won a few weeks ago. I think everything is in order. It is. Pallo is defending the title, which means he has a few tricks up his sleeve that he can use to keep his championship. Pallo just completed a couple of matches against Danny Hodge. He lost both by DQ and countout. And it was Pallo defeating Hector Garza a few bouts back for the World Junior title. Pallo is 4-5-2. Yatsu 1-2-2. His last loss was in the Old Charlotte circuit against Carlos Colon. So we will set up the holds and get this match started. Yatsu's got to get a pinfall within 60 minutes. I'm sure the crowd in Atlanta would love to see a title change off the heels of already seeing one with Sting defeating Vader. Pallo should retain the title, and we will see. Off we go. Pallo starts with a leg hold, 5 points off of Yatsu's total. Suplex attempt countered, and Yatsu comes back with choking. He's not afraid to bend the rules when he's on his own. And that's 5 points off of Pallo's total. So it's a heel-heel match. But Pallo's World Junior Heavyweight Championship very much at stake. Yatsu using punches. And Yatsu going for an illegal pin, doesn't get it. We are 150 into the bout. Yatsu with a slight lead. Legal elbow by Pallo. No pin. No action. Still no action. And we have a European uppercut by Pallo. No pin. So each man has gotten a pin on the board, and Pallo has already gotten two. And Pallo is cut as Yatsu grabbed the ringside bell and bashed Pallo with it. And Pallo has a split open lower lip. So now Yatsu has opened up a lead. Body slam by the challenger and a legal throw. No pin. We are about 5.5 minutes into the bout. Yatsu with a lead, with some more choking. Yatsu's got to be careful he does not get DQ'd here. Ropes move, flying clothesline by the champ, no pin. Face rake by the champ. Disqualified check stop, biting by the champ. He's going for that Patagonian nose hold, I'm sure. Al Red Sox fan will probably get that. Body slam by the champ, no pin. We're 8 minutes and 40 seconds into the bout. Pinhold countered. We go to Yatsu, who kicks Pallo. Strategy move used, card used and countered by Pallo, and auto control loss. Whipped to the ropes by Pallo, who is cut and is down just a touch in this match. Punches used by Pallo, and some more. Headlock by the champion, no action. Power move by Yatsu, no pin. Forearm by the champ, no action. Arm hold by the champ. So now it's about a dead even match with, of course, Pallo cut on the lower lip. An elbow by the champion Pallo, no pin. Power moves by Yatsu, and a kick, and a power move, which was a running body block. Speed move countered by the champion, who goes for a low blow and gets it. And that's 6 points off of Yatsu's total. It's still about dead even at the 15-minute mark. Figure four, head scissors, and good night now. And I think we had Jushin Thunder Liger from earlier in the night attacking Paolo, which is going to cost Yatsu here. I'm sure Liger is feeling his oats after beating Ole Anderson and probably sending him running. So Paolo is being awarded the win by DQ. He'll only pick up 1 point for it. And the final numbers were 102 and 23 off of Paolo, who survives yet again and will head into the Mideast, the Central United States Combine. He'll either head to Tampa, Chicago, Minneapolis, or St. Louis with the championship belt ready to defend it in one of those 4 regions. So that took 16 minutes and 4 seconds, and now off we go for a doubleheader in the brand new circuit of Knoxville, Tennessee. And now off to our final 2 matches of Grand Slam Saturday. Hope your July 9th, actually I'm taping this July 9th, I should say July 10th, is going well. And we're going to show you the championship matches from the brand new Knoxville circuit, including the North American Tag Team title match and the World title match. We'll get to both matches in greater detail right about now. You know how they you watch local network news and they always if it's like 6, they're ending the hour and they say, the 9 o'clock newscast begins right now, and it's actually a couple of seconds from right now. Just a little thing that peeves me. Not proper language, but anyway. Let's go through the results of what's happened in Knoxville. Knoxville took a whole bunch of free agents off the market and has given them employment, but I don't think Mr. Pogo will be around long. He lost to Johnny Gunn. All the matches in this card where grapplers were within 10 points of each other, so it's likely Pogo will go. Gunn by pin, and that'll be a full Nelson slam. Actually, I should not say that. I was saying earlier that it will be the highest team to lose points. But you know what? I'm just going to change the rules right here and now, right in front of your very eyes, and I'm just going to use discretion and just take the low man off the totem pole here and take. From now on, the ruling is going to be this. If I can play Commissioner Solely for a moment. It's going to be, if there is a tie, the promoter uses his discretion as to whom to kick out, and I would kick out Pogo. If there's a tie for for the biggest loss in terms of points for anybody, so Mr. Pogo, you go back to Japan. So anyway, that was the first match. Black Shadow and Bill Dundee. Black Shadow, the luchador from Mexico. And he beat Dundee by DQ, and Dundee went for brass knucks. Brian Kendrick and Barry O. It was Kendrick easily, 5 minutes inside cradle. Bray Gunkel, and Masachono went to a double count out. Dutch Mantel made his GSW debut. Did pretty well. He won by DQ over a frustrated Jerry Jarrett, trying to use his promotional stroke. It was Pat Patterson and Greg Gugna. They had a very nice 20-minute draw. Both men bled. Both men got near pins near the end of the bout. Michael Hayes, a fan favorite here in Knoxville, he goes to a double countout with Eddie Guerrero. The Wright boys over Johnson and Atlas, Rocky Johnson, Tony Atlas, and then in our 20-minute, since there were no steps in the bout, highest non-title bout, it was Kevin Nash and Ron Fuller. Both played college basketball in their careers. Nash in Tennessee at Knoxville for the Tennessee Volunteers, and Ron Fuller for the University of Miami. They each were centers, I believe, in college basketball at various points in their careers, at various points of time. They went to a 20-minute draw. So we might see another battle of the basketballers at some point down the road, which brings us to our first of the 2 bouts. We're going to have for you here on Grand Slam Saturday from Knoxville. Junkyard Dog and Tommy Rich have had some success in GSW. I think they have won championships on the regional level before. Tommy Rich, of course, more famous for winning the NWA title for a handful of days in 1981. And they get the Blackjacks. The Blackjacks have not had a great win-loss record as champions. They're 2-5-3, and JYD and Tommy Rich only had one match, which they won over the Outsiders. So off we go with this bout. Let's do my. Did I do my trade holding? Hold trading. There we go. And off this bout goes. One fall, 60 minutes in time. Challenger's got to pin or make the champions submit. And the champions are defending the title, which means they could use illegal means to keep their titles, which is what it's all about if you're a heel. And look at that. The match ended in 31 seconds. Referee knocked down by an accidental collision. Blackjacks leave the ring and bring the championship belt. Oh, they use it. They use it. So they win in 31 seconds. So that wasn't much of a bout, was it? And that's going to give the Blackjacks not 9 points, but the full 4 points. And that gives them 4 points. And all of a sudden, they're making some inroads. If the champions hold the belts and they go below 100 points, say they constantly get themselves disqualified, then they're stripped of the title for poor performance. So the Blackjacks now have a little bit of leeway. And we will say that Mulligan pinned, since they don't give any guidance here as to who, it's going to be Mulligan pinning Rich. After using the championship belts. So a bit of a dud. Neither team got any damage in, but the match got 2.5 stars. Controversial finish. So we will set up our main event. Dory Funk Jr. defending against Antonio Enoki, who was the number one contender when I set up this match. You got a lot of guys within shouting distance of the number one. Well, he was number one contender, but then John Pezic unretired. He interfered in the Monarch of the Mat final. So Commissioner Soley fined Pezic an undisclosed amount, rumored to be hefty. So Pezic says, well, you're going to do that, then I'm going to come out of retirement, win the world title an unprecedented third time, and I'm going to hold on the belt as long as I can. Then I'll retire again. Thank you very much, Mr. Soley. So it's going to be Enoki against... That is not Enoki in the frame. That is Akimono, who's top on the list alphabetically. So we're going to find Enoki. There we go. There we go. And this is a World Championship match. Funk being the champ. And this is going to be one fall, 60 minutes in time. I believe we have had a championship match between these two before earlier in the year. And Funk wound up keeping his title. Funk has now been champion 20 weeks. But should he draw John Pezic and have to defend his title in Europe, he might be in some trouble. Funk is 12-4-6 on his champions card. He did have some matches earlier before he became champion, beating Jim Lundos for the title. Enoki is 7-3-1. He lost in the, I think it was the second round of the final stage of the Monarch of the Met to Freddie Blassie. So, just going to double check and make sure the holes are set. So Knoxville, the Knoxville territory, getting to see this world-class championship match. And here we go. It's a pin hold very quickly for Funk, no pin. And the challenger comes back with a legal forearm. Hopefully this will go a little longer than 31 seconds. In fact, it already has. Illegal punches by Enoki. He's trying to win the title. Body slam countered by Funk, who uses illegal punchers, but that was countered. And Enoki's move of body slam was also countered. So Dory with illegal punches, an arm hold, an arm breaker, but that's not gonna score a pin on Enoki. Enoki's got a very good submission ranking of 6-3-0, and Dory's isn't too bad at 5-4-1 and that pin hold rating of 9-6-1. Lou Thez nearly got to him in a couple of matches a few weeks ago. And Funk is just barely nicked after a kick by Enoki onto Funk. Auto control loss. We go back to the challenger, who stops the DQ attempt. Headlock by Enoki. No action. Suplex countered. Here comes Enoki. A pin hold countered. Both these guys wrestling very defensively right now. A pin hold. Pinhold by Funk. Small package, no pin. Punches by the champ. A kick by the challenger. A throat chop by Dory Funk Jr. No pin. No action. Illegal choking by the champ. That submission's not going to work. Legal whip to the ropes. Auto control loss by Enoki. We go back to Funk with a kick to the knee. That's no pin. So Funk is off to a good start. 10 minutes into this bout. A legal throw by the champ and a chop. Reverse chop. No pin. I wonder where he learned that from. Abdominal stretch, but that's not likely to get the submission. 6-3-0. Very low odds. And of course that 3 count being 0, meaning you're not going to get him. Neck hold by the champ, a pin hold, a side roll by Funk, and something happened here. Illegal pin attempt, and Enoki is already done. It went 11:52. So Funk gets him early, and since this was a one-fall match, you can't get him often. So give 4 points to Dory Funk Jr. And he probably has a date with destiny with John Pezic in his future. And Pezic could legitimately take the title off of him. 11:52 to time. And 21-1 for the champ, 84 for the challenger, 3.5 stars. This bout went, and kind of a disappointing effort from Antonio Enoki. So that does it for this week's episode of Grand Slam Wrestling. Hope you enjoyed it. We will be back next Saturday, Lord willing, and if the creek does not rise, and you don't want to say that too, you don't want to say that too much after we just got a hurricane this past week. We were able to get everything done on time. We had a hurricane whiz through my area. By the time it got to us, it kind of fizzled out. So we were very grateful about that. This has been Big Polly coming to you, wishing you well, Godspeed, and God bless. We'll do it all again soon, and bye-bye for now, everybody.